Hello there, World of Tankers. Welcome into the channel. I'm, of course, your host, Droodles Blitz, and in today's video, we are going to be breaking into this Tier 8 American Premium Tank Destroyer, the TS5. Now, this is a very weird vehicle. It looks weird, it's got a weird playstyle, and I don't really know if I enjoy the vehicle, but for any of you that do, it is a very expensive price tag of 15,000 gold. Obviously, the first time it was released, it was in crates. So the second time it's released, as normal, it has a very expensive price tag. Now, I have two reasons to why the price tag is so expensive for an average tank. Number one is the fact that Wargaming wanted to make the Chieftain Mark 6 seem like a better deal, and honestly, if you thought to buy maybe the Mark 6 and wanted my opinion on it, really, the Blitz Fair, you could buy the Mark 6 for about 20 bucks if you got the gold boxes at that time and then got the Mark 6 in the auction. So, yeah, I'd suggest just to wait. I mean, we're very close to the Blitz Fair, less than 2 months away now, and the Christmas tanks will be out for the Blitz Fair auctions and everything else like that. So save your money if you want to get a Tier 10 collector or a premium, because even if the Mark 6 doesn't show up, there will definitely be tanks like the T-22 Medium, Kampfpanzer 50. You don't know exactly what's going to show up, but I can always tell you that they're usually very strong vehicles. But the TS5, it's either A, they, as I said, wanted to artificially make the Chieftain Mark 6 price look better, or B, they wanted the TS5 to be expensive because they thought that they could make it expensive and that people would buy it. I'm probably thinking it's more B, they just wanted to make the tank expensive because, yeah, I mean, it was just sold in crates, and that's what they normally do for crate vehicles that were sold the first time in crates. Unfortunately, the TS5 is really not a fantastic tank. While I don't think it is a bad vehicle, just like a lot of the Tier 8s that have been released recently, I think that they did a good job balancing it. It's just that there's nothing really exciting about it. This is going to be one of those tanks that sits in your garage and collects dust for the next 5 months. And the reason behind that is, first of all, it's slow. It goes 26 kilometers per hour, and that's it. I mean, sure, it's got a great power-to-weight ratio of 15, its traverse speed is okay, and its engine power of around 900 is really good. I mean, it actually gets up to top speed very easily, and it stays at top speed. The annoying thing about this vehicle is the fact that, first of all, it has 4 seconds of aiming time and 0.344 dispersion. Sure, the gun has fantastic penetration values. In fact, because I'm running calibrated shells just to make it that bit more overkill, it's got 374 millimeters of pen and 271 on the standard. I mean, that is crazy. Same pen as a Tier 10 heavy tank, being the E5. But the bad thing about it is the fact that the gun's so inaccurate that you have to sit there and wait for it to aim in, which means that your penetration, yeah, sure, you'll hit your shots and you'll pen them most of the time, but your DPM, which is really strong, starts to hemorrhage when you're sitting there staring at the enemy opponent and you're worried to poke because you're going to bleed a lot of health. Now, hit points wise, this tank doesn't have that much either. It's about 1,272. It's definitely not bad for a tank destroyer on hit point wise, but if we compare that to a vehicle like the T-28 Defender, which is sitting at around 1,537 hit points, 300 more, or we compare the TS5 to even the Turtle, which is like, what, 1,400 as well? I mean, this vehicle definitely, even though it's supposed to be a very heavily armored tank destroyer, doesn't really seem like it when 3 shots from any IS series tank will take it right out of the battlefield. Now, when we take a look at the armor of the vehicle, you'll notice it's actually quite strong. I mean, this is premium shells with calibrated on from the 53 TP, and that's around 270-80 millimeters of pen. The lower plate is about 200 thick, which is good. Tier 6s will struggle, not Tier 6s, Tier 7s will struggle to cut through that lower plate. Unfortunately, no Tier 8s will and no Tier 9s will. And while the vehicle does have a quite strong superstructure, I mean, look at how big that lower plate is. It's literally half the vehicle. And it's not like you have plenty of gun depression to hide it. You have 5 degrees. So usually what I've noticed is that unless you are completely and perfectly hull down, you are going to be penned there basically every time. Now, you do have actually a very troll lower skid plate here, which as you can see, it's actually not that thick. I mean, at this angle, it's about 180. But because it's so steep, you'll get a lot of auto ricochets there. Quite trollish for people that don't understand the armor or take a snapshot and they just end up hitting the lower parts. What is annoying about the vehicle is that not only do you have this cupola here, but you also have these 2 side skirts that are weak spots. And if you're turning the vehicle like this at all, I mean, this starts to become very weak. Only 200, 170, 130 thick. Literally, the only way you're going to bounce shells is if you are frontally angling your tank. Because if you try to turn it at all, the sides just, I mean, they just turn to butter, as you can see. This is only about 220 thick. So, yeah, I mean, that's only 130. Look at how weak that is. Actually, now that I'm looking at it here, you can just hit that basically everywhere and cut right through the tank. So, as I said, I don't think the vehicle's bad. The gun is great, don't get me wrong. The actual gun itself, the amount of penetration it has, and a lot of people might question me why I'm not running rammer on this vehicle, and the real reason behind it isn't because rammer is going to give me a benefit or Cali's going to, give me a benefit either. It's more just the fact that I want so much pen that the enemy will literally get penned if they are fully hull down, like a Tiger 2 using 8 degrees of gun depression. With this amount of heat pen, you literally pen everywhere. It's actually insane. And I just like to do that because it's just kind of funny to see how much pen you can actually get away with in a tier 8 vehicle. So, yeah, there's no actual reason why I do it, but, this isn't really a fantastic tank as it is, so why not just have a bit of fun when I am driving it? But yeah, the TS5, it's a fun vehicle. I mean, my friend loves it, and I'm doing okay now. I'm like 85% win rate for about 30 games in it, and I'm at 2,300 average damage. It's just that I don't really enjoy playing it. It's a very boring play style because it's irritating that the gun misses a lot of shells. Just like the 60 TP, where the 60 TP has really bad dispersion. But that tank kind of makes sense because, it's got everything else going for it. But this tank, it really just has gun and, like, an okay armor profile. I wouldn't say it's great, because it's not. You can see the size of that lower plate. If it was decently armored, maybe 220 or 230 thick, I'd say, yeah, okay, I understand why the gun's very inaccurate. But I really don't get why they made it inaccurate. It's not like it would have made the vehicle any, more broken. But, yeah, so we're going to see what we can do here with that 5 degrees of gun depression. But, oh boy, wait until we see what this gun can do. Now, the enemy team has a VK4502A, Turtle. That thing, I shouldn't even be complaining about this tank, judging that the enemy team is a Turtle. But they do have an SU-130 and an ISU-152 and a Yo. So they do got some pretty strong tanks, just not all of them are as strong as the others. There's our 53 TP getting shot, and there's the ISU. I mean, look at that aiming time. You can clearly see that it definitely struggles on the aiming time aspect of the vehicle. It's okay, as I said, but it will get quite annoying in certain scenarios. Now we got that Panther off to the side. Maybe we can get a shell into him, and oh, let's actually, well, we can just load a heat shell and literally, oh, yep, there's that gun as I was talking about. So, yeah, I mean, the gun's not bad, but it's definitely not good. Let's aim it on that Panther again. Let's load in heat because it cuts through everything, and wow, he just went straight through the roof of my tank. Well, that sucks. Well, let's try reloading again. We definitely have a quick enough reload to continue punching shells into this Panther. So let's see if we can get a... I need to back up a bit more. There you go. Oh, and we got a VK45 off to the side. Perfect. That Panther might just lose all of his health. But the good thing about this tank, as I said, is the DPM is really, really strong. There's that gun depression, though. Quite terrible as it is, so got to be a little bit worried about that. But speed is key. Now, face-hugging capabilities are pretty strong. As we do have the cupola on the roof, overall, it's actually okay at face-hugging because well, you can't shoot the lower plate, obviously. So, yeah, that's good. We're going to get another shot into that VK, but, yeah, there you go, straight into the weak spot, as we were talking about. So, let's get one more tap into this guy, but we do have that Tankenstein off to my side, which isn't fantastic. But it looks like my teammate is actually going to start shooting at that guy, so we should be able to maybe get some shells into this Tankenstein. Just look at that pen. It's actually insane. I mean, with heat shells, what does it look like? It's actually just stupid. So let's just proceed to dump more and more shells into this Tankenstein. We obviously have plenty of DPM to obviously make him hate life. And this is a good example to say just where the tank is strong. I mean, the gun has plenty of pen to cut through this guy. Tankenstein, sure, he finished off my teammate, but it's definitely not going to be enough to stop me from finishing him off. And, well, yeah, pen is not a problem to cut through his vehicle. So we're actually doing pretty strong this game. I mean, we're at about 4,087 damage, which, when you think about it, is very strong for a tier 8 game. And, I mean, the only reason we're at so much damage is because clearly we pushed onto two tanks that weren't necessarily the best at the game, but we definitely were able to use the capabilities of the tank in its strengths. Now that Yo, I'm not sure if he's AFK or what he's really doing, but we're just going to try and come up behind him. I mean, if I'm able to actually get this guy shot, this is going to be over 5,000 damage this battle. Let's get a quick snap into the Panther. He is taken out, and now we're going to push onto the Yo. So let's put on that adrenaline, and let's see if we can get a nice HE into the rear of his vehicle. There you go, nice tap for 470. And sure, he did pen me. He penned me again, actually, which is not great. And let's see if we can get that HE out. Yes, we did not get killed. But, yeah, you could definitely see, hey, that was a perfect, we got super lucky that he bounced me. I actually didn't think he was running the top gun. He had the stock turret, as we saw, but there you go, 5,132 damage. 111,000 credits. That was a fantastic game, and it showcased probably everything you'd need to know about the tank. I mean, the lower plate, as you saw, that Yo cut right through it. No problem whatsoever. Does the Yo actually have a stock auto-loading gun, or is it only the top gun? I'm not really sure. Yeah, it's only the top gun. See, he had about 236 millimeters of pen, and judging that he probably wasn't the best, he might have even had less, so he's probably sitting at around, we'll say 215 pen. And as we talked about, with 215 pen, you're easily cutting through that lower plate, especially because AP has a much easier time. So he hit this part twice, and then because he was kind of bad at the game, he hit the lower part here. And as we talked about, that can be an auto ricochet sometimes to players that are unsuspecting. So we got very, very lucky. But the tank itself did fine. I mean, you could easily see that the gun did its job. The armor, we didn't really bounce anything, did we? I mean, did we even bounce anything? I need to double check. I don't know if we bounced any shells that game. I'm misclicking. But that's a really good example to the TS5. I mean, you could clearly see that this game we got, there you go, 1 bounce. Out of these 6 shells we received, 1 bounced me. The gun, though, when we were actually able to use it and get that DPM pumped out, have that incredible pen working with us, yeah, it was a pretty easy win. So in scenarios like that, where you are frontline and you're actually able to have the gun work and you don't need to worry about that dispersion, it's great. But there are very few scenarios like that, especially when you're up against tier 9s. Thankfully, this is not a tier 9 game. And, yeah, we're going to see how we can do. They do have double E25, which, well, yeah, that's going to be quite annoying to deal with. Thankfully, since our superstructure is very, very strong, as long as they don't flank, we probably should do okay. I am Biden. Okay. I don't understand Blitz ever. I don't understand the people that play this game. But you guys are Droodles watchers, so you're all obviously the best players in the game. Let's see what we can do. We will drown if necessary. What? What? Okay, either way. I'm going to stop reading chat because this is going to make me hemorrhage some brain cells. Enemy team, I got to be worried about a couple tanks. I mean, the Progetto can be a bit of a worry. But for the most part, I mean, that CDC is already just being completely destroyed. There's the Progetto. I just love saying that name. Speed is key. Now, you did notice last game that when we were actually pushing on that VK-45 at the beginning of that ramp, we didn't even have enough gun depression to actually aim down on his vehicle. That is, oh my god, I can't believe I hit that. But yeah, that's a good example to showcase where the vehicle really, really struggles on the aspect of its gun depression as well. This is a good example to showcase the poor armor on the lower plates. Yeah, that's right, E25. You start running like a wimp. That's what you get. So let's get a snap into that Progetto. There you go. But with that, we also got hit by the AMX CDC. So, I mean, we're not doing bad here. I can't believe that CDC is actually still doing strong, judging that, I mean, I really thought that guy would have just been cucked by now with how many tanks we had shooting at him. But hey, we got the WZ off to the side. Let's get a beautiful snap in him for 500. And let's continue on pushing. We got the Tiger actually off to the side over here, which should be a pretty easy shot in. And aiming. Yeah, you can still see, though, that the aiming time definitely struggles on the vehicle. It's nothing amazing, but it's not terrible either. You know, you can aim it in. So here we go. Let's get a snap. Oh, that was not good. And, well, here we go. The WZ's aiming at me. And, yep. I mean, this is the issue with the tank. The armor really does not work, as I talked about. It really just doesn't. Oh my god. And there's the gun doing its classic thing. So we might actually be dead here. I mean, I'm going to try my best, but I'm going to actually wedge down it. Wow, we got a bounce. I can't believe I bounced that. And there you go again. The gun. You know what? I'm not even going to push that. I know that my tank's too slow to actually deal with him. So, yeah, we're going to start backing up here. Let's see if we can get a tracking shell into that WZ. But honestly, oh, wow, he's just bad at the game. I'm thankful that he's bad because you can clearly see that in a normal scenario, I would have easily been killed. And as I was talking about, the gun, I mean, if you don't let it aim in, it really does suck. So let's get a shell into this guy. He's dead. That didn't go all too well for him. And all that's left is the enemy Tiger 1 off to the side, and this should be an okay win. So let's just push the tank over here. Speed is key. Come on, we can get one shell out and fire. Yeah, 403 damage. And with that, again, we did 3,624 damage. So, not bad. I mean, the TS5 did what it was supposed to. Its armor didn't really do much. But the tank itself, the gun, because it has so much pen, and because it has really good DPM, it works. And it's got high alpha. I mean, unlike the Turtle, 400 damage per shot is plenty to deal with enemy tanks. So I don't think the TS5 is a bad vehicle, by any means. I don't remember what I said in my original video on it, but it was my first 2 games, so it wasn't really the best of personal opinions on the tank, judging that it was the first two. But this game was a very good example as well of the strengths and weaknesses of the vehicle. Sure, you can hit some snapshots. We got one on that CDC. We got a ridiculous one on that T-71. But we also got payback to us when we managed to miss easy shots on that WZ-111 right in front of us. So that's a good example. As well, you'll notice that, sure, that WZ was obviously bad. He was shooting heat shells at my tracks, which are spaced armor. And as we know, you can't pen heat shells through spaced armor. That's why they don't go through brick walls. So that was just his fault for being bad. But for the most part, if that was any normal battle, that would have been the end of my tank. It's slow at reverse, and yeah, I mean, I would have died there. So we got lucky. I mean, I was easily able to pick up an extra 1,200 damage because of that luck. We would have only had about 2,200 if we had been shot by that WZ originally. But I still think the tank's nice, but definitely not 15,000 gold nice. Don't spend your money on it. Save your money. If it comes out cheaper, maybe 8,000 gold, I'll stay. If you like this kind of playstyle, maybe, but yeah, even that's a bit of a stretch. Hopefully all of you enjoyed today's video. If you'd like to see more like it, please consider smashing that subscribe button down below and stay tuned in the future. Bye-bye!